this is Brian. Welcome to Chiller Night Live, where from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock, we'll be talking about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal. You throw out the topic, we'll make a show out of it, by golly. Hope everyone's doing really well, and you can be watching this on either Facebook, on the channel's Chiller Night Escape Experience, on Jack Shadow's House of Terror, or Chiller Night Theater. On those Facebook pages, you can be watching this, or you can be watching this also on YouTube on the Chiller Night channel. And if you are watching it on YouTube, I just ask that you like and subscribe to the channel, and also hit the notification bell so you can know what's going on. And Stephanie says, hey y'all, hey Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Bonehead says, hey, hello, Chiller Night crew and Brian. Hey, how's it going there, Bonehead? Glad you could join us. Now, we did have, Bonehead says, oh, he's asking Miss Stephanie, how was her book club today, if you don't mind me asking. Okay, so, Super Pappy. You know, this is the 4th week in a row where I cannot see emojis. Sorry, Super Pappy. It'll take me about 20 seconds before I actually see what you submitted here. So while we're waiting here, now we do have a topic. We do have a topic that was thrown out there last week. It was the Mandela effect. If we want to talk about the Mandela effect, we can do that. Of course, we're always free to throw any other topics in there that you want. Tom says, good evening. Good evening, Tom Paisley. John Wayne, SBC, says, hello, everyone. Hey, SBC. Super Pappy. I just now got the smiley face and the thumbs up. Believe it or not, there's such a delay on that. That just started like 4 weeks ago. I don't know why. All right, thumbs up, buddy. He says, yeah. Yeah, PBR Street Gang. All right, he's got some emojis there, and they're gonna take a little bit to load. Not my fault. It's Restream. So, but Patty says, I remember the Mandela died in prison, causing riots and the end of apartheid. It was surprised when he was alive and president. Yeah, that's how the whole Mandela effect came to be, where there's a large group of people who have a different memory of a significant event that turns out to be different than what history. People remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison back in the 80s. But did he? No, he lived until 2013, apparently. So I think that's correct. But PBR has given me the waves. They have just now popped up there, so I give them back. I return the salutation to you, PBR Street Gang. Thanks for joining us. Tom says, I remember loaning Nelson Mandela $50 and he never paid me back. I wonder if there's interest on that. You might want to look into that. Might have something there. So, the Mandela effect. Yeah, false memories. False memories, or are they? Is there some other explanation? How a large group of people, there are theories of parallel existences. Are reality shifting at certain focal points throughout our existence? So I'm trying to get used to these glasses. Ava bought me these. These are blue tint, I guess. I mean, they're not literally blue, but they're supposed to protect my eyes from staring at the screen for too long. So we'll see. If I just got these today, so I'm just trying to get used to them. Thought I'd share that with you. But anyways, but that was one of them. I didn't have time to really prepare for this topic. In fact, probably after tonight, I'm going to say that maybe we'll pick up the topics a little bit later. And the reason being, I enjoy the topics, but I've been so now I'm in down to the wire to where I'm spending a lot of my time working now on the haunted house. So and then I get like one day to get my yard work done, which was the case today. So unfortunately, I just was able to come in here into the house shortly, and I just didn't have time to do this because I also had to do a promo, put together a promo for tonight for New York 48, WWON TV. And I had to cut them a 30-second promo. I actually, I just now got to that tonight, so I appreciate them being patient and me getting that done tonight. But I don't have a lot of time to do things just yet. And you know, it's self-inflicted. It is. So but anyways, but this is the topic if anyone has any interest in that. John Y says, hi, Brian and all. Hey, John, thanks for joining us. Bonin says, well, there's a wave for everyone. Best I could do. Sorry. Ah, that's quite a wave. All right, send a wave. Very literally, huh? John says, was on for the first time about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so I'm here. So I'm new here. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Oh, that's right. Well, tonight's topic, again, we have a topic that was, suggested by viewers. Tonight's was the Mandela effect. Again, everyone's welcome to participate and throw in whatever they want to. These are just kind of a guideline for something fun to talk about for the hour. But you know how this goes. I'm sure most of you do. We could end up talking about just anything, really, to be honest with you. It's just very informal here at Chiller Night Live, but we are just a place to get together and chat about things, horror, science fiction, something fun, just something to forget about everything else for at least an hour. We'll try to give you a lighthearted hour. Super Pappy, I'm still hoping you will host a midweek movie night with commentaries. Ooh. Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't mind doing stuff like that. I probably will, now I'm kind of stuck and can only go forward with the haunted house. It is a force to be reckoned with, and it's one of those things where now my time is really being at the end of, near the end of August 20th. It's devoting a lot of my time. So, and, I didn't start on this early. I didn't start on this at all until just recently. My intent was to start on the haunted house, Jack Shadow's House of Terror, earlier than what I did, but I was trying to get my store up and running and give it some attention and time, and so let people see that the store was there and let them. So that's what I've been doing up until just this week. I just started putting the gate down, putting a sign up. So, Patty says Mandela usually refers to a parallel universe. See, and I have heard that. So. Because how else could you describe something like that unless, like, I understand, like, one of the examples is, like, Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back saying, Luke, I am your father. When he says, no, I am your father. I can understand that. People just attribute, him saying it to Luke, and they've just added Luke onto that. And over time, I've probably done it myself, even though I know, I've known the script to Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, at one point in my life, the whole way through. So, but I could catch myself doing something like that. It's just a common thing. But some of the other things, like this the Nelson Mandela incident, they're harder to explain. How does that happen? Hard to say. Bonin says, welcome, John Y, to the Chiller Night crew. Glad to have you on board. John Wayne says, I always knew that Mandela was still alive, not that he had accomplished much, LOL. Well, I don't know. I mean, it is kind of weird because I don't know. I guess I never thought too much about it one way or the other until this started coming up, the Mandela effect. Died in the 80s? No, in 2013. I guess I personally, that wasn't one of the things that happened, the where that really stood out enough in my mind where I could sit and actually, you know, counter somebody on that. No, no, why he died in 1980s in prison? No, I didn't know that, but apparently enough people felt that they did. So they have that memory. A large group of people have that memory. Um, John Wayne says, oh, I read that. John says, it's time again for your hour of real-time entertainment. It's time again for Chiller Night Live. This is Crozak the Grand, and now to give you real memories for you. Here's our host, Bryan Hogue. Yes, no Mandela effects here, at least during this hour, we should hope. All right, thank you, John. Crozak the Grand. Always appreciate your stellar intros. Stephanie says, to be honest, I've never seen the Mandela Effect. Sorry, yo. Was that a movie? Was that also a movie? It sounds like a movie title also. It's a phenomenon, but, or it could be. I suppose it's how you look at it. Whether you think that people are just having mass false memories, or if there really was a point in reality where some people have shifted into a parallel existence, like Patty had brought up, which I think a lot of people do kind of attribute the Mandela effect to that, rather than just, oh, a bunch of people just remember the wrong thing. So what do you guys think? I don't know. If you know enough about it, I'm reading. You know, I've heard of it, but I'm certainly no expert in it, and I've not ever done a show on it. So like a chiller chat where I'm actually interviewing somebody on it. So I don't have a lot of knowledge about it, other than what I'm reading here tonight and what little bit I've heard in the past. But Patty says another Mandela is Smokey the Bear suspenders. I remember them. Others say they never wear. That is also, you just remind me of Mickey Mouse. That was another example of Mandela, the Mandela effect. Some people remember Mickey Mouse with suspenders, and he just has the red shorts. He doesn't have suspenders. So, I don't know. Bonus says, wow, I see Jack Shadow peeking out the door of the castle. Yeah, you see him up there? If you look real sharp-eyed viewers, we'll see Jack Shadow up there, actually moving around, doing Jack Shadow things. Yeah, he's up there. He's up there looking down on us. John Weiss says, I just came back from China where I was touring with my wife, who's Chinese, and our son was there for the last 3 weeks, so I'm still getting over jet lag. That's why I missed the past few weeks. Oh, wow. Well, we're glad you're here tonight with us. A film night with commentary is a good idea, John Wayne says. That could be. You know, there was another idea that Paul, I don't see Paul on here, or Renee. I don't know where Renee's at. Or Lasercorn. But, you know, some of our regular viewers who we see visit typically are not here. But Paul brought up something about a Zoom call one time about, wouldn't it be neat if he said, wouldn't it be cool if we could all get together on a Zoom call one of these times? And I don't know if anybody would be up for that. I mean, if you'd want to, I suppose we could try that one of these times. But I don't know. I'm never going to just say no. If enough people think that's an interesting idea, I wouldn't mind. I don't know when right off the top of my head, but John Wise says, what an interesting and thought-provoking topic. Bunhead says, oops, never mind, I over-medicated, sorry. What? Speaking of medications, where's Paul Lynch at? I know. John Wise says, speaking of horror sci-fi, has anyone seen the new Alien Romulus movie? Any thoughts of those who've seen it? I have not seen that. I've seen a few reviews on there where the reviewer really thought pretty highly of it. So John Wayne says, I thought I saw Spider Baby hosted by Jack Shadow. That's what I call a Mandela effect. Jack Shadow did host Spider Baby one time in his old show, Sleepy Hollow Theater. So, but that might be one. Actually, let me throw this out here. If I can do a Halloween episode, Jack Shadow, is there a movie? Because I actually thought about Spider Baby as the one for Halloween. But is there another one? I mean, is everybody kind of the go-to movie is Night of the Living Dead, something like that. But I don't know. Is there? We've done that several times. But I mean, is there a movie? And of course, it'd have to be in the public domain. These I like them, but they're just a little. I'm getting a little dizzy. I don't think I'm supposed to get. I'll get my old glasses here. All right. Al says, hi, everyone. It's Chiller Night. It sure is, Al. Thanks for joining us. Bonin says, I'm still waiting for Lasercorn to get here so I can pass along Miss Glamfang's message to him. Ah, okay. Very cool. John Wayne says, Zoom is an interesting idea, but then I'd have to wear a shirt. LOL. Well, shirts are optional, I suppose. That's up to you. Let's see. I'm going to look here at different examples. Okay, that's taking forever, so I'll just, Luke, I am your father. Okay, that was one I brought up. I think that's pretty easy to explain. Mirror, mirror on the wall. This is another famous example of the Mandela effect. If you have watched the Disney classic Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, you could probably recall this line from the movie. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? But with further examination, you actually learn the phrase is magic mirror on the wall instead. So that's another one. I've always heard it say mirror, mirror on the wall. But maybe it was just repeated wrong. Did I actually get that? Here's another thing. Always go to the source. I learned this from many years, as a police officer investigating. Always go back to the source, the actual source, not the. Because now you're repeating something. You're a parrot. You're just repeating something. That's where I probably fell into the Luke, I am your father. I know he didn't say that, but I was, repeating it just like everybody else. Because, for one thing, it wasn't significant enough for me to correct myself. But another thing is, it was just easy to do. I didn't care. I wasn't, no one was quizzing me at the time. I didn't know there was going to someday be something called a Mandela effect. So, Oscar Mayer, for some odd reason, there was a great controversy of the spelling of one of the famous hot dog brands, Oscar Mayer Wieners. Some people wholeheartedly claim that they remember the brand spelling being M-E-Y-E-R rather than M-A-Y-E-R, which is the correct spelling. Again, some of these are... I can see how maybe, some of these slid by, slid through the cracks of reality. Berenstein Bears. This is a famous child's book series called, there is a famous the Berenstein Bears, which is definitely not immune to the Mandela effect. Lots of people claim to remember the name being the Bernstein Bears, spelled with an E rather than an A. Very similar to Oscar Mayer. See, those little ones like that, I can see. I can just see that happening. And I don't put a lot of significance on those. Life is like a box of chocolates. Here's another famous, familiar misquotation that stems from the classic 1994 movie Forrest Gump. The main character shares a quote he picked up from his mother. In the scene, Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks, actually says, "My mother always said life was like a box of chocolates." You can go back and watch the movie and see for yourself. Life is like a box of chocolates. Isn't that what we just said? I don't see. I don't see something significant enough to, like the actual Nelson Mandela thing. Stephanie says, I wouldn't mind something Night of the Living Dead or House on Haunted Hill as a Halloween movie. Ooh, cool. All right. John Y says, I wish I could have seen the Chiller Night movies back then when they were being put out with Jack Shadow hosting. I guess I can still catch them as recordings of their original releases, right? Yes, you can catch them right, well, right on the Chiller Night YouTube channel where you're at right now. Just look up the videos or put in Chiller Night Theater and then the name of the movie. But yeah, we have plenty to, and I've stood in for Jack Shadow before, but I've never was intended to be the host. I was just standing in to keep the show alive for the last, I don't know, that last year, because I was just so busy working on escape rooms and stuff. So Bonus says, please don't forget, Brian, that if you do a Saturday show of any kind, let me know, so hopefully Miss Glam can be a part. She really misses everyone here and sends her best wishes to all her friends here. Thank you. Well, tell her that we miss her, and I hope someday I can do another Saturday night show. We just had the change to Tuesday nights because I just haven't been able to do that for a while. So Marianne says, hi, Brian. Hey, Marianne, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you stopping by and visiting here for at least for the next 40 minutes or so. I don't know if you have that much time on your hands, but thanks for stopping in. We're talking about the Mandela effect is tonight's topic. It is where a large group of people have a false memory, or I should say a different memory, of a significant event than another large group of people. And the example, the Mandela effect, is Nelson Mandela. A lot of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in 1980. In the 1980s, I should say. Well, he didn't. He died like many years later in 2013. But a lot of people hold to that memory. They could swear they know that that was part of their history. Yeah, and so that's where the term Mandela effect comes from. We've given a few examples. Nothing that really stands out too much, except for the example I just gave. I mean, some little ones. But Christian says, in Silence of the Lamb, Lecter greets Clarice with a simple good morning. But many people believe he says, hello, Clarice. Yeah. See, I would have thought that he, you know, you have that in your head that he does say hello, Clarice. So I don't know. Tom says Disney's version was the only version that said magic mirror. Every other version, including the original German, has it saying mirror, mirror on the wall. Oh, well, maybe. See, now that I can see as an explanation as to how that occurred. Just like Luke, I am your father. Because when you're repeating it to somebody, or you're saying it to be funny or something, you have an opportunity to say the famous words. You're not dressed as Darth Vader. You're not standing there. Well, probably not in most everyday occurrences. But you're saying, you're addressing it to Luke. I am your father. So I can see that one too. So I can see explanations, and I think Tom gave one here for mirror, mirror on the wall. Or at least that's how I take it. John says a good example of the effect is the Hawaiian Punch commercials when Punchy said, would you like a Hawaiian Punch? What he really said is, how about a Hawaiian Punch? See, I don't remember that. I mean, I remember those commercials, but I don't remember that specific him saying that. So John Wayne says House on Haunted Hill is a great Halloween movie. Okay, we got a couple House on Haunted Hills here. John Y says he's a hard fellow to fill in for. Yes. Oh, I know it. He demands perfection. No, when I went in there, oh, there's my baby giving me some hearts right back at you, baby. She's on Facebook. Most of you appear to be on YouTube, so if you're on one or the other, you can't see each other, but trust me, I see all. But Stephanie says, OMG, everything I hear is life is always a box of chocolates. I remember the parody from Tales from the Crypt, LOL. Life is always a box of chocolates. Is that, what am I missing here with that? Bonin says, I always liked Horror Express. You get a 2-for-1 Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing in a great horror movie. I know. That is, that's a good one too. It's a good movie. House on Haunted Hill is a great Halloween movie. John Wayne says, I think I read that. Jason says, good evening. I'm sorry I'm late to the party tonight. Oh, no problem, Jason. A good evening to you as well. Bonin says, will do, Brian. She still follows the show, so feel free to say hello to our sweetheart of screams and our favorite spider, Miss Glamfangs. It brightened her day. Oh, she watches the show on, like, after the fact. That'd be great. Well, Miss Glamfangs, we do miss you, and I would love, I don't know how, even as I'm saying this, but I would, that would be really cool to do a Saturday. Maybe like one Saturday. Tuesday seems to work for me, but because of the store. But I don't know. You never know. Never say never. That's what I'll say. John Wayne says, I think people say, Luke, I am your father, because it can lead to misunderstandings to tell someone that you are their father. I know. Even if you say it in a Darth Vader voice, it's still a little confusing. That's why I thought, yeah, they're not. It's not like they're standing there dressed as Vader and mimicking him, as in physical visage. That's why there's a Luke, I am your. I get that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, we don't. Jason says anything from Hammer Horror is always the best. Yeah. Brendan says, how about Sherlock Holmes never saying elementary, Watson, in the original books, but everyone thinks that. Elementary. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think over time, though, I think what happens is people are misquoting the source. That's what I'm saying. Go back to the actual source. Like Tom gave the example, and some of you have given examples from the actual source, rather than the perceived saying. Because you ever play the game when you were a kid? You sit in a circle and you whisper in the next guy's ear or gal's ear, and the kids are all whispering. By the time it gets back, it's totally different. People remember things wrong, so they're not going to quote the source, even if they've seen it. This was an example given in our police academy. We were shown a scene of a movie, and you weren't told why. It was a segment of a movie. There was a crime taking place. Okay, half the room was out, and half of us were watching. And then we switched places. What you had to do was then tell the other what you saw as the other was taking notes. And I've seen this over the many years of being a police officer. That person did see what took place. What did you see? You'd think it would be simple. But it isn't, because there's so many other things that you're thinking of, and the fact that you don't know that you're preparing to start recording information that you're later going to relay, I don't know what he was wearing. He was wearing a blue sweater. No, he was wearing a red sweater. Well, he was wearing white shoes. No, they were black. Does that mean the person didn't see it? No, they saw it. They saw it. You know, are they lying? No, absolutely not. They're pulling it from their memory as best as they can. Much like I do every time I do this show, and I'm trying to just, you know, pull memories out. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't, but I can see we are all flawed in that way. So I can see some of that attributing to the Mandela effect on these smaller issues. Stephanie says, does anybody remember the quotes, "One ring to rule them all"? And who the hell is Bucky? Pardon my language, but this is the last one I remember here. Bucky said, no, I don't remember that one. What is that from? One ring to rule them all. Is that like Lord of the Rings or something? Bonin says, yes, she watches when she can. Thanks, Brian, you're the best. Ah, no, not a problem. It was always a pleasure when Glam Fangs was joining us. John Wayne says, at Tom Paisley, right, Tom, the German version says, Spiegeln, Spiegeln, on der Wand. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Okay, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I'm reading it to the best of my abilities. Perhaps this will be later distorted memory, and that little few seconds will become a Mandela effect of our very own. You never know. John Wayne says, the biggest Mandela effect in Star Wars, Han Solo shot first. No, he didn't shoot first. He shot. Greedo didn't shoot. All right? That was back in the Back in 1977, we all watched Star Wars. And that's all it was. It wasn't A New Hope. It was Star. They later gave it A New Hope because everything else was getting the Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. So, 1997, George Lucas releases the special features with additional scenes and segments and stuff like that. So, George Lucas, at a later time, decides, well, I shouldn't have Han Solo just shoot Greedo in cold blood, which I didn't take it that way. I mean, Greedo was going to kill him, sitting on the other side of him and the Mos Eisley canteen. So, Han Solo, does the old, distraction, and he reaches down to his gun, shoots through the table, shoots Greedo. Greedo's dead. Well, in 1997, they changed it so Greedo shoots beside Han Solo's head, and then Han shoots. Like, that was so stupid. I just thought that was dumb. Why? Why? But I'm not the billionaire, am I? So, I guess my opinion doesn't really matter. Let's see. Okay, Tom says, that's from Lord of the Rings. Okay, alright. Stephanie says, one ring is from the Lord of the Rings, and the Bucky is from Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Oh, okay. Alright. See, I don't remember. I've seen both of those, but I don't remember specific quotes like that in the dialogue. So, but that's... Is that one of those like Luke, I am your father? Is it? Kristen says, and now they've updated again recently, giving Greedo an extra line of dialogue. That sounds kind of familiar to me. What did he say? What's Greedo saying to Han? What was the extra dialogue? I don't remember. Interesting. All right. Well, hey, as we're at, let me take a few seconds here and remind everybody, every Saturday night on Stream TV, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Chiller Night Theater. Jack Shadow hosts classic and not so classic chiller features from yesteryear. So check out Chiller Night Theater on Stream TV beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I say beginning because they play 4 episodes back to back. So, and I post those every Saturday, early enough, around 11 in the morning or noon or something like that. So I'm always posting them, and also on these Facebook pages as well. And if you ever are in doubt, you can always go to, because you got to go here anyways to watch it if you're going to stream TV, streammedia.tv, where they actually do have an online schedule. So if you forget, someone, just happens to see you on the street, in the grocery store, and they're quizzing you. Quick, what's the 9 o'clock movie? I don't know. The pressure's mounting. I don't know. I don't remember what Brian posted. Well, now you don't have to remember. You can just go to streammedia.tv where you can see the on-air schedule. All right? So also, I would like to say our newest channel for playing Chiller Night Theater is New York 48 WWON TV. Now, they play Chiller Night Theater episodes every Saturday. I want so bad to say Saturdays at midnight, but it's Saturdays at 11:58 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can find that by going to wonnewyork.net. You can see it right there. And also, if you forget either one of those, I hope you don't, but if you do, I do have those in the description of this show right here that we're watching. So check out New York 48 WWON TV and Stream TV to watch Chiller Night Theater on Saturday nights. And who knows, maybe one of these days Jack will be back and we will see more episodes. We're going to try to get them back for Halloween. All right. Kristen says, Greta now says, oh, that's right, McClunky. That's right, I did see that. What the heck? Which is apparently some type of curse word in the Star Wars world. McClunky is, I don't even know if we ought to be saying this, but you wrote it. So, I mean, can you even put that on the internet, Kristen? So, that's right. I do remember that, yeah. Why? Why are they doing this? John Wayne says, I haven't seen Star Wars for a few years. I'll have to dig out the VHS. Yeah. Patty says, John Wayne, make sure it's the original and not Lucas' first re-edit. Yeah. My goodness. But it says, I've never watched Star Wars or any of the sequels. Really? Really? Wow. I remember that being such a big deal back in 1977. I remember the night I saw it. It was at the Oil City Drake Theater, again, Oil City, Pennsylvania, and really old, immaculate, the Drake Theater, at least to a kid. You go in there, very tall. It was an old theater. I had like theater back in probably 1800s. It was built and later converted into a movie theater. But I remember seeing this movie called Star Wars. I remember that night. I didn't want to go. I wanted to, I was playing in the backyard with my brother and his friend, and we were just playing and having a good time. And they wanted to go see this movie called Star Wars. I didn't know what the heck that even was. I later recalled seeing a trailer for it earlier that year, like much earlier in the year, like in the winter, I think, that it was coming out. And that was interesting. If you go on to YouTube, you can see the original trailer. They were, it was kind of weird. But I remember just being blown away by that. I'd never seen anything like that before. And people like back in the 30s, like 35, would kind of equate that to maybe seeing the original King Kong, or maybe in 1939 seeing The Wizard of Oz, these cinematic masterpieces, something that had never quite been done before to that extent. So in 77 it was Star Wars, a movie phenomenon. So here's another fine mess you've gotten me into, Oliver Hardy, Bonehead says. I remember that. I don't know. Is that another this Mandela effect thing? Jason says the Drake Theater was amazing, even when the silver screen still had flood water line on the screen. Uh, it was just so cool. I hated to see that go, but it's just one of those things. John Wayne says, Patty, it's the VHS from the late 70s, early 80s. The later re-edited DVD I have is bad. Yeah, I didn't like what they did with like even when I went to the theater to see the special editions. I did. Now some of the things were cool. Like I know at the end of Star Wars, the X-wing fighters flying toward the Death Star. Like I thought that was pretty cool. Like some of the effects of the ships and that to me looked a lot more realistic. But some of the effects, like Han Solo talking to Jabba and the hangar bay, I think they could have left that out. They really could have left that out. That was not done well at all. I've not seen Jabba done well as a computer or a CGI character, and any of the versions. I just the Book of Boba Fett when they did the Hutts, I didn't think those looked good. I don't know. They're just something about that big puppet. Yeah, I don't know. That's how I remember Jabba. So whenever I see the CGI, it just isn't the same. Patty says, I was in line in 77 when the critics panned it and said not to waste your money on it before it started making money. Then they all changed their reviews. I'm sure they did. Yes. That doesn't surprise me. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I don't know if I saw it early. No, I didn't. I saw it in August of 77, and it was still playing, even though it came out in May. It was still making its run. And the movie theater, Jason, I'm sure you remember the drive-in out at out in Cranberry, where the mall is now, or in that area. But I remember I lived right on that road, and the traffic was backed up for miles. Not everybody going to see Star Wars, but the trying to get in to that drive-in theater on the main road just plugged up the entire roadway, and it just there was just traffic backed up for miles one night trying to get in there to see Star Wars. Kristen says, my first movie theater experience was Empire Strikes Back at the Drake. The scene with Han slicing open the Tauntaun hooked me. Yeah. That was cool. Jason says, I watched Star Wars, Bambi, Gandhi, King Kong, and much more at the Drake. I know, that was so cool. I have so many good memories of the Drake Theater. Bonin says, I like the original Battlestar Galactica with Lorne Greene, and I really like Buck Rogers in the 25th century because Aaron Gray and Pam Hensley, ooh la la, they were hot. I don't remember the other, I don't remember this, was, who was the other? I remember Aaron Gray. She was like on Buck Rogers' side. I don't remember the other actress you're referring to, but yeah, that was a fun show. Buck Rogers in the 25th century. I remember one episode where they actually had Buster Crabbe was on there as a guest, so that was kind of cool seeing the two Buck Rogers. Super Pappy says Comedy of Terrors and The Raven would be good for Halloween. Oh, you just gave me an idea. Yes. Bonin says, but I never saw the Star Wars. I may try to watch at least the original 3 movies in the series one day. Yeah, the first 3, I mean, the first 2 are really super good. The Return of the Jedi, even when I saw it as a kid, I was kind of disappointed. I mean, the first 3 are solid. They're good, solid trilogy. The third one, not. I mean, in my opinion, it didn't hold up to the first 2. but it was still good. Tom says, I saw it in theaters, but I also saw the trailer earlier and thought it was more of a comedy than straight up sci-fi. Oh yeah, yeah, it was a strange trailer. Maybe I'll, if I remember, I'll try to show that next week, the original Star Wars trailer. Star Wars had an incredible run in the Oil City area, Jason says. Yeah. Super Pappy says, Halloween double feature. Interesting. Interesting. Bonin says, I remember watching Godzilla vs. Megalon at the drive-in. John Y says, that's when I saw it, Brian. I graduated from high school in June of 1977, and about a month or so, the Star Wars movie was released, and I had to see it from the very front row. Oh, yeah, that would have been cool. Bonin says, Pamela Hensley played Princess Ardala. Okay, I wondered if that's who you were referring to. Okay, I know who you're talking about, yeah. Jason says, Pam Hensley was the villainess. Yeah, she later starred opposite of the title character in the series, Matt Houston. Okay. Tom Paisley says, I saw John Carpenter's The Fog in a drive-in. It was a perfect venue for it. Oh, that would be. John Wayne says, I hate all the CGI. The CGI effect in Star Wars look worse than they pluck turkey in the giant claw. John Y says, wasn't the first release in 1977 actually episode 4 in the Star Wars Chronicles? Yes, it was. Jason says, you should show the Hardware Wars trailer, Brian. Hardware Wars. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, episode 4. And it was more the 3 movies, the trilogy, was for many old school fans like myself, held up to a certain reverence, not only in cinematic history, but also the story, the space mythology of it. And that's why when they come at a later time, and I understand as a business, you're just going to crank out these shows. Yes, you're gonna try to profit off these characters and stuff. I understand that, but that's where, the people who were true fans of the original trilogy are going like, no. Although there were like the Timothy Zahn novels, that was the first real expanded novelization of the story, and it was so well done. I love those books, and then Disney purchased. Oh my goodness! You see what they're doing now? They were really hoisting up this new Acolyte, the Acolyte. I haven't seen it, so I can't give a fair review on it one way or the other. I just can't. But I've seen so many reviews on it where people are just like, oh, it's so woke, it's so blah. And now they've canceled the second season of it, and they were definitely planning on having a second season. And I don't know. Like I said, I've heard where people throw that out there, like it's woke, it's this, and believe me, I can't stand woke writing. I can't. But I've also seen stuff that was supposedly that, and I didn't think it was. So sometimes I think there are claims just for clickbait. No, people wouldn't do that, would they? But sadly, many times, more often than not, nowadays it is that way. So, yeah, it was episode 4. To get back to your, it was always intended. It was going to be a 9 movie series. There, I remember reading this stuff from when I was a kid too. That George Lucas was later going to go back and do the prequel, and then do a sequel trilogy. Could have done without probably either one of those, but it's if it's if it makes people happy, then just enjoy. That's the way I look at it. John Y says, that's a great way to describe the Star Wars stories. Space mythology. I think so. It is the classic hero's journey of Luke Skywalker You know, becoming, you know, and that's the hero's journey is also the life's journey. You know, from the boy to the man, you're gaining experience, your wisdom, overcoming adversities, defeating the villain. You know, whatever that may be, and representing your life. But yeah, that was, and you go back to mythology, and there is that hero's journey. If you know, I don't think people know how to write movies anymore. You know, I can't say that across the board. Yeah, I'm sure there's good examples that I'm not remembering right now, but that's just how I feel about it. Um, Patty says, apologies for my spell checker. It's Luke Skybucker, ham salad princess android. That's all right. You know, even though I'm reading Luke Skybucker and ham salad, I know who you're talking about. That's funny. John Wayne says, Tom Paisley, my house in Germany, is in a region where the fog gets so thick at night that you can't drive any further. I certainly won't be watching the fog there. Yeah. Al says, oh, I saw Godzilla vs. Megalon in the theater too. I did too. I think we all did. Us old school fans of chiller horror and sci-fi. Patty says, met a 10-year-old Godzilla fan today that told me the Megalon is her favorite G movie. Oh, yeah? John Weiss says, I thought the original Mandalorian series was pretty good. Had a good storyline. He was a very likable, badass hero. I did like the first two seasons. And then the third season, they're starting to incorporate different aspects of that woke writing. And I didn't care for that third season. The first two, I had such high hopes. It was a fun time to be a Star Wars fan again, I thought. And then the third season, you can see a definite fall off there. I don't know what happened with the Book of Boba Fett, quite honestly. Boba, what did happen? Explain to these folks what occurred. No. I wanted to love that. I wanted to love it, and I didn't. I sat there, I watched it every week, and I just kind of liked it a little bit. You know, it's like, hey, I'm happy to see that the character didn't meet his fate, being slowly digested for over 1,000 years in the belly of the Sarlacc. So good on Boba. I'm glad you got out, buddy. But no, I thought that series. I thought and Tamara Morrison, who played Boba Fett, he was what, 61 at the time, and Boba Fett would have been like 41 maybe at the time. If you're going, you know, if you look at the timeline. So there's an actor who's playing a character that is 20 years younger than him. And to me, whenever I'd see him, I'd be like, I'm not saying the guy wasn't in good shape for his age. He definitely is, but he doesn't look like the Boba who we just saw in The Empire Strikes Back, and then saw briefly in The Return of the Jedi. He looks like, I don't know, but it just wasn't that good. Bonin says, I got a plastic cup at the drive-in, and it had a funny cartoon versions of Drac, Frankie, and the Wolf and Wolfie from the Groovy Goalies on it when I got a Coke. Oh, okay. Kristen says, the Jar Jar character is just completely McClunky. Yes. It is very McClunky. Jason says, ham salad was in Hardware Wars. Oh, is that what that's? I didn't remember that. Okay, ham salad. It is that were those the names that Patty was saying? Probably. Tom says, amen. Creativity in Hollywood is dead. Yeah, I'd just love to see it come back. I'd love to see it come back. It just doesn't feel like an art anymore. Storytelling, character development. Like there used to be I just watch some of the, just watch which. What am I thinking? Humphrey Bogart, Casablanca. I don't know that. How can you watch that and not just say I just watched a great movie? There's something magic there. Movie magic. There's a magic about it. And that is not. They can throw all the special effects in it they want now, but it is missing. It's missing that. It just feels different. Is that? I don't think that's just me. I was gonna say maybe it's because I'm getting older, and I don't know. I'd like to not think that way. Patty says ham salad was the character's name in Hardware Wars, so were the others. Okay, right. Let me see. Let me. Oh my gosh, I'm really falling behind here, and we only got a few minutes left. Tom says you're using an older camera, Brian. You're a tad out of focus. I'm not. No, this is the same camera, but I'll look into that. If I'm looking a little out of focus, I'll check and see. Maybe I need to get an upgrade. Christian says times are tough in the belly of the Sarlacc. They sure are. Let's see, where are we at here? Oh, the haunt. Okay. Where do we have the belly of the... Oh, there's my version of the Sarlacc in the House of Terror. There's my belly of the Sarlacc. All right. Take care and see you next week, Stephanie says. All right, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Tom says Oh, I read that. Now I missed some comments, and I'm sorry, but I'm trying to keep up. Oh no, I'm getting depressed. John White says the show a great source of fun for me. It's almost over. I have to wait a whole other week to watch it again. Yeah. John says you have been watching your memories input Chiller Night Live with Bryan Hogue. This is Crozak the Grand reminding you that when you see the Spirit Halloween store opening up, you know that it's getting closer to Halloween. Now there's only 72 days to go until next week. Stay chilled and keep thrilled. Thank you, Crozak the Grand. Tom says, now you're back in focus. I gives up. You know what does it? Is sometimes if I put my hand close or make a gesture out here, it's catching it in the foreground, and that makes me blurry. So sometimes if I notice I'm blurry, I'll do this real quick to try to make it readjust. Oh well, maybe that was it. Good night, yous guys. Until next time, a duel, Tom says. All right, Tom. Patty says, stay safe. All UFOs next. Let's see. Everyone's saying good night. Good night. Thanks again, everyone, for a great show. Jason says, excellent show as always. Thank you. Thank you. Bonus says, to quote the immortal Dave Allen, good night, thank you, and may your God go with you. John Wayne says, I'll have to make the trip up there to see the House of Terror, meet you guys. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, let me know if you plan on doing that. John Wayne says, I know what you mean. The magic is somehow gone, lost in modern Hollywood movies. It sure is. I just love to see it come back, But Super Pappy says, see you next time, friends. All right, Super Pappy, thanks for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for joining me and each other for another episode of Chiller Night Live. Have a good night. Have a good Chiller Night. We'll see you next week.